Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Katiev's Autodesk Virtual Academy. I'm Nigel Mbayek, application engineer here at Katiev, and your host for today and just about every other day. So welcome to those who are returning, and also welcome to those who, might be your first time here. Definitely hope we have a great session today. As you can see on the screen, today we've got what's new in Inventor 2018.1 with our good friend from Autodesk, Loren Welch. How's it going, Loren?
Going well, Nigel. Going very well.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is probably, I want to say like Loren's fourth, maybe fifth AVA. Loren's a product manager over at the Autodesk end of things for the Inventor product line specifically. So definitely probably the best resource to be able to give us this information. So definitely thankful for that. If you have any questions anytime, this is going to be about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes or so. If you have any questions, let us know by typing them in the chat box. We'll get to those as needed, and definitely stay tuned for some awesome announcements about the product design and manufacturing collection, which was, I guess, newly renamed. And we're going to go over some of those details if you have any questions on what that really means for you as a customer. So, Loren, do you have anything to add?
No, I think we're good.
Cool. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'll pass the mic over to Loren, and yeah, we'll get started.
All right, perfect. So again, thanks, Nigel, and the folks at Katiev, and thanks everybody for taking the time to join this morning. As mentioned, my name is Loren Welch. I'm a product manager on the Inventor product line. Between the Inventor and Vault products, there's about 7 of us product managers, and I am one of them. So what I wanted to take the time to do today is just cover what's new in Inventor 2018.1 update. The .1 update was released about on July 18th, and it's a really good opportunity to show what we've done with kind of these updates throughout the year. Many of you have noticed that we are releasing multiple updates for our major releases throughout the year, and this is no exception to that. So that being said, again, please type in questions as you go, and we'll make sure we have some time at the end to handle any questions that we aren't able to answer throughout the webinar. So first thing we'll talk about is just when we released Inventor 2018 back in the spring, and we really focused on 3 main areas. That's professional grade design, expanded interoperability, and the Inventor experience. And hopefully you guys have at least seen some webinars or are using Inventor 2018 and really understand what we mean in these areas. Professional grade design is really about the core functionality our users need every day. So we double down on how we can continue to make the core DNA of Inventor much more stronger, robust, and streamlined for our users. But we're also adding new functionality, and model-based definition for parts is a key example of that. In our idea of expanded interoperability, we understand that designers and engineers, not only are they multidisciplinary in their jobs these days, but they're also dealing with many different CAD systems, both inside and outside of the Autodesk ecosystem. And so we really expanded how we work with AnyCAD or these other files with AnyCAD, and we also allow users to save BIM-ready files right from Inventor as native Revit or IFC files. We expanded how users can use mesh data. Earlier versions of Inventor really allowed it to really be used at the part and assembly level, and we've expanded that into drawings with 2018. And the idea of this Inventor experience is really about, as we refresh and add functionality to commands, really giving it a new experience that really streamlines and adds a layer of consistency from functionality from an Autodesk perspective. And we also obviously are including all the Inventor ideas submissions from our users on the Inventor's ideas page. So now let's take us to 2018.1. And what we've really done is we've continued to work in these areas for our customers. So we've expanded model-based definition into the assembly environment. We've added global triggers for our iLogic users, and we've continued to work on performance as it relates specifically to drawing view updates. Inside of the expanded interoperability, we've extended AnyCAD functionality for native solid edge files. And then the Inventor experience was really about all of our users' Inventor idea submissions and incorporating those into the product. So let's take a look at these functions and really get into the meat of what we did with the 2018.1 update release. The first area we'll talk about is model-based definition for assemblies. When we released 2018, we released model-based definition for parts, and we realized that our customers are going to want to take it to the assembly level and extend those 3D annotations and dimensions really up to that top level. It's an extension of the capabilities we released for parts, and we've just made it available at the assembly level. And of course, we're continuing to include the MBD information and 3D annotations when exported to both 3D PDF and STEP AP242. So really, we're talking about the overall benefit of model-based definitions as it relates to complete assembly design, not just individual parts. And it's really something that we knew we were going to do, but we wanted to make sure we released model-based definition for parts with our initial release and then expand it, obviously, into the assembly environment for our users. So let's go ahead and take a look at this in action at the assembly level. So what you'll notice in the assembly environment, there's an annotate tab, just like you see in the part environment. You're able to quickly and easily add things inside of the 3D space, from things like dimensions and other annotations into things like hole callouts, surface finishes, etc. And it really gives our users that ability and workflow that they we're seeing prior at the part level with model-based definition, and really extend that, as we said, into the assembly environment. We know that there's a lot of critical machining and assembly operations that need this information, and it's not necessarily things that you can just repeat from the part level. They might be assembly environment specific. So we give users that same ability to set up predefined design views and predefine their front, top, and specialty views for model-based definition at the assembly level. In the area of iLogic, we focus on these global event triggers. So what we really talked about before is we had some different trigger levels and where those rules were stored prior, but really didn't extend to a global level. So now we have these different triggers for new document, open and close document, before and after save, parameter change, etc. And really what it allows for, it's easier to maintain and update from a CAD standard or a deployment standard for our users, because you can now have these on network drives or local disks as you start adding these global triggers for your users with iLogic. So what you'll see here with these event triggers is you can specify that these are global and that they're stored either at the project or application level. So again, a lot of those different triggers we talked about before, things you want to ensure happen or are part of an operation for your users upon save, upon open, etc., can now be maintained, stored, and distributed at an enterprise level or a corporate-wide level for your engineering departments. In the area of performance, we saw significant investment in performance with the 2018 release. But again, we definitely see this as something that it was not complete. And honestly, we'll always be working on ways to make Inventor faster and more performant for our users as they continue to make more complex and larger designs. So this drawing update is specifically talking about what we call our incremental view update. And so when you update parts, sub-assemblies, within a larger assembly, that the effect that has on the drawing historically is that it has to regenerate all of those drawing views, which on a very complex drawing can be very time consuming. So what we've done is now we only update the geometry that's actually changed in that view. So that increment or that delta and the change is what's being updated in the view. And as you can see on the right, as we validated with customer data sets, it makes a significant impact on the time it takes to perform those updates inside of the drawing environment within Inventor 2018.1. AnyCAD has been extremely popular for the last 2 years, and what we saw with prior releases was adding additional formats. With 2018, we actually added the ability for Inventor to be a format, so you could open and leverage Inventor files with AnyCAD between versions, between 2017 and 2018. The next step we really saw was adding Solid Edge. It really was the next format in line from a non-native Inventor file that we're really seeing in the design ecosystem. And so just like any other file format that is part of AnyCAD, we want this brand to be really pure. And when it's AnyCAD, it doesn't mean that it's just a translation. It means that it's a live reference to the native file. And so as you see this expand, obviously Inventor has import and export translators. When we label something AnyCAD, it's really about that live reference to the non-native Inventor file. So here you can see, similar to any other AnyCAD format, whether you're doing a file, open, or insert workflow, you can simply select solid edge parts and assemblies now. Make sure that you make them a referenced AnyCAD file. And once you place those in your design, anytime you go back and need to edit or update inside of the native Inventor assembly, you simply go to, whether your supplier updates their file format, whether it's a legacy file that you have in another system, you simply need to modify that dimension. And then once it's updated and saved in the native CAD system, Inventor recognizes that that change happened, and you simply perform an update. So again, keeping the AnyCAD brand and functionality pure, we just added solid edge parts and assemblies with Inventor 2018.1. One of the other things we started with the 2018 release was this revamp of the shrink wrap tool. So rather than having multiple simplification or shrink wrap commands, we combined it to just a single shrink wrap, which is much more easier to use, much more streamlined, and really gives users the end result they're looking for from providing simplified models. Well, now we've added that, that new shrink wrap task into Task Scheduler. So you can have some predefined outputs and have shrink wrap automated via Task Scheduler for a subset of data files or things like that that you need to have as simplified models to provide to customers to maybe protect IP or as sales models or what have you. But again, the key here is that it's now a task within Task Scheduler. The next area we'll talk about, again, is always one of my favorites, and that's the Inventor Ideas page. Our customers, I can't thank everyone enough for being active on the Inventor Ideas community and giving your thoughts and ideas of what you'd like to see within Inventor, but also seeing what other people want inside of their design tool and either giving them votes or kudos, or maybe giving your varying opinion on these things. And we're always been and will continue to be very transparent on ideas that we accept and ideas that we implement into Inventor. So 2018.1 is no exception to this. So some of the highlights here, we did a lot of work with projection of geometry with the 2018 and even some of the later 2017 updates. And now what we have is this master switch to either have all your geometry automatically project as construction or as normal geometry. Now, this is a switch in your options, but there's also the ability prior to doing any of the options that provide projection, obviously in the sketch environment, you can just toggle the construction or the construction geometry button as well. So it really gives you a lot of flexibility as you're dimensioning and constraining and getting those auto projections on how it comes into your sketch environment. Inside of the assembly environment, we have this ability now to add weld beads as a participant to assembly level features. So what we've seen before is a lot of times our customers do have the requirement, while they're doing fabrication, you do a lot of welding and then machining of that weld. And it's just a way for us to make sure that as you have your weld beads represented in your assembly, that they're also obviously participating in any assembly level features that represent machining operations or fabrication processes that reflect real life situations for our customers. We've also updated some of the failure case messaging in our bolted connections within design accelerators, just to make a lot more concise and clear for our users what some of those failure cases are and what the resultant is for those cases. One of the other ideas that was actually highly voted upon was the ability when you export your bill of materials in Excel format or in the variety of formats, that you also export thumbnails with the bill of materials. So again, when your global parts list or in your bill of materials access, when you export, you can now choose to also have a column that gives you the thumbnail. And that's the same thumbnail that you'd see in your file previews, etc. So again, we're very proud of the 2018 release. We've seen a lot of customers already adopting it in its first month out. And as always, any feedback you have around the functionality that was in 2018.1 and additional functionality you'd like to see as users, by all means, we really love that feedback, and the product team really goes and executes against that as best we can. So that's kind of a high-level summary of 2018.1. And again, I hope you really get a lot out of it. But one of the other things I know in talking with the folks at CATIV and other customers, one of the things I wanted to make sure we talked about today was some of the other changes that are going on from an Inventor and Autodesk design and manufacturing perspective. So along those notes, let's talk a little bit about some changes we're making to some of the products. So we've had the product design collection. It's the subscription offering that we have in the manufacturing side of Inventor to really give our customers a full suite of tools, end-to-end solution around the Inventor-based design. Well, as of yesterday, that's now called the Inventor Design and Manufacturing Collection. So I know nobody's a big fan of name changes, but it's really critical, I think, to have the word manufacturing in this collection. And here's why. Because as you saw the product design collection up until yesterday, you had access to all of these tools from within the Autodesk Manufacturing Group. And now what you're seeing is we've added Nastran In-CAD and HSM as part of the collection. So what we're really doing is we're taking the tools that have been trusted by, millions of engineers worldwide between Inventor, AutoCAD, and now we're adding Nastran and HSM into this package. So you really have this really cohesive workflow, not only in Canvas of Inventor, but also to some of the extents. And we'll talk about that just a little bit. So from an Inventor or an Autodesk perspective, this is really the best way to leverage your Inventor designs, right? You've got design and engineering. We now have the advanced simulation capabilities with Nastran In-CAD. You now have 2.5 to 5-axis CAM functionality with HSM, and then you have the factory design utility. So it truly is this really complete set of tools that you can use throughout your organization. We certainly understand that users are probably not going to use every single one of these tools, but the value really is in the workflows they can produce internally within your organization, within the larger footprint of your design ecosystem, that the product design and manufacturing collection is really going to enable for our customers. So, we talk about things about in-Canvas workflows, and we thought it was really important. HSM has an Inventor HSM, which works right inside of Inventor. Nastran has Nastran In-CAD, which works right inside of Inventor. So why not make that part of the collection and really enable our users to leverage these technologies inside of that Inventor interface? And obviously, you have all the design functionality from Inventor Professional and all of the facility commands and functionality with Factory Design Suite. When you start extending outside of that Inventor canvas, that's where you get, AutoCAD electrical interoperability. You've got, the 2D with AutoCAD and AutoCAD mechanical, reality capture with recap that can be brought into the Inventor interface. And again, the large-scale design review with Navisworks. So the idea behind this is really giving a lot of value to our product design collection subscribers with the product design and manufacturing collection. So I just wanted to mention that. It's not necessarily part of the 2018.1 update, but it did come out yesterday, and I think it's really important for our product design collection subscribers to understand what they have access to today. And so both for accessing the 2018.1 update and the product design and manufacturing collection entitlements, just go to the Autodesk account page, take a look at, if you're using the Autodesk desktop application, you'll see notifications in there as well of these updates. So again, you have both ways to access these updates and download and install them. And the last thing I'd really like to mention before Q&A, and I know we're leaving a lot of time for Q&A, is really around Autodesk University. So again, yesterday, registration opened for Autodesk University. Again, my selfish plug is I know I'm doing 3 classes there. I know there's a ton of customers presenting around Inventor and Vault and all the other tools in the manufacturing collection. It really amounts to a great way to learn, connect, and explore what Autodesk really has to offer. So Registration's open. I know there's an early registration discount going on. But with that said, Nigel, let's go ahead and open it up for questions and go from there.
Yeah, certainly there are a lot. I just want to first highlight about the collections changes, right? If you are confused as to whether or not you have a product design suite or a product design collection, definitely let us know. Reach out to someone here at CATIV, whether that's your sales rep or us, even during the survey, and we can figure out exactly what you own. I know a lot of people are asking like, hey, do I have this based on what I own? I have to like look up all these accounts. So definitely, if you have any questions about whether or not you have access to the tools based on your allocation, reach out to us and we'll get that straightened out for you. Second off, before I get to Q&A, we do have an awesome live event happening in the office in about 2 weeks. It's on the 22nd of this month. I'm going to go ahead and add a link to that in the chat box real quick, just so everyone can see it. And it's a Vault Fundamentals workshop. Essentially, it's a condensed version of our Vault Basic Training course. Oh, whoops, I sent that to not everybody. All right, there you go. Everybody should have this now. That is a link to the webcast, or not the workshop here at the CATIV office in Brea. So if you are local, or even if you're not local and just want to come, that's there. We're going to be going over, best practices in regards to how to operate within Vault, all the possibilities you have, as well as some of the advantages of having some of the more higher tiers of Vault. Why those are really important to you and your business. So if you want to get some of your questions answered, definitely be tuned in for that. So with that, we'll go ahead and start jumping into a couple of questions. Let's see here. The first one, in regards to MBD, Loren, that's only in step 242 and 3D PDF, correct? So not in things like GLIFs and regular PDF.
So the GLIFX publishing of 3D annotations is a project we're working on. I would encourage you, if you're part of the Inventor feedback community, the beta program, I think we have some, I know we have some active projects around that. If you're looking to see the functionality and provide feedback, I would encourage you to join the Inventor feedback community and take a look at some of those projects that we have in motion there.
Certainly. So cool. And if anyone needs any of that information, let us know. We'll be able to get you links to the beta community. Super cool. And they use really cool names for stuff. So, all right, let's keep going through here. Have iLogic snippets been added for taking to Vault? So snippets for taking, I guess, checking in parts or things like that? I don't believe so, Loren. Can you confirm? So
as far as the general talking to Vault, there's no, I would say, I don't think there's any snippets in the base, in what comes with iLogic. So Vault is actually, the Vault and Inventor teams are now combined into one team as of about 8 months ago. So you'll see a lot of things in areas where we can provide values to our customers where you're going to start seeing more of that. But as of today, right now, there's no Vault snippets currently readily available.
Yep, cool. So yeah, so if these are things that you really want to see in the program, jump to the Idea Station. As Loren mentioned, like a bunch of the updates to .1 and even 2018 in general came from users, just using the product and wanting some added functionality or updates to features and stuff. So if you get enough backing on your idea on the Idea Station, it gets sent to the top, and people like Loren and Chris and stuff, that becomes higher on their priority list of looking at. So just a note to those of you who want to add functionality to Inventor. All right. Another question here. On the auto project as a construction line, is there a setting to default to projection to not be adaptive when projecting in the assembly file? We prefer to have our assembly-based projections non-adaptive, but projections in a sketch in the part environment to be adaptive to the part.
So with projections in general, the idea is that they're tied back to the original geometry. So there's no, and again, maybe it would make sense for us to maybe talk offline about some of the workflows you're talking about there. But I guess we need to understand a little bit more of what your workflow is. But by default, it is going to be adaptive. when you're going between parts for sure. So hopefully that answers, but if there's anything more specific, maybe it's something you can reach out to Nigel offline and we can work from there.
Yeah, we can certainly work on that as well. Maybe like tracing over the construction lines with an actual sketch could work, depending on what workflow you're looking at. But we can definitely look at that. Let's see here. There is a note about raster design not being in the industry collection, and that Product Design Suite Ultimate has it, and now you're forced to switch to the manufacturing collection. So that's actually not the case, Seth. Raster design isn't in the Product Design Manufacturing collection, but you're not actually forced to switch into it. If you want to stay on maintenance and on the suite, you're definitely allowed to do so. Autodesk isn't forcing people to move to the subscription model. They're just allowing an easy path to it if that's something you want to do. If you have any questions about that, Seth, definitely let us know, and we can give you the details on that. But you can continue to use your Suite Ultimate for as long as you want. Let's see. Any additional functionality for AutoCAD DWG underlays, Loren?
So with the 2018 release, we did add some functionality with the DWG underlays. If you can insert them just like parts inside of the assembly environment. Again, you can have more than one underlay because of this, because you can almost treat them as parts, and a few other things. So yeah, definitely take a look at what we released with 2018 initially, but there were some good enhancements around. Primarily, we found it was a request from our factory design type of users. But if there's something else you're looking for there, definitely let us know. But with 2018, the initial release, we did a lot of work with the DWG underlays.
Certainly, yeah. So in regards to your question, Reed, I don't think there is an addition of being able to do multiple underlays in one part. Is that correct still, Loren?
You can, I mean, you can insert, you can, let's see here, you can insert multiple, but it's usually from the same DWG. So again, if we can circle back on some of this, but I'm trying to just make sure I'm understanding if he's talking about multiple DWGs or one DWG with multiple views, things like that. But
right, I think talking about multiple. I think I've talked to Reed about this earlier, but it's like multiple DWG files. I think you can still only put the one, but multiple views from it, or multiple instances of that one twig.
Yeah.
Cool. A lot of people, multiple people, I guess, have been asking when are the additions to the collection going to be available to download in my account. Some people checked and it's not there yet. I've had a lot of support calls about this. It takes a while for everything to sync, so definitely give it a couple of days. They can't update like all of the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Autodesk customers at one time. So yeah, be on the lookout. If it's not there, I guess by tomorrow, definitely let us know here at the team. We can look into that. Maybe your account's not syncing properly, and we can take a look at yours specifically. You might also have Product Design Suite Ultimate and might not be on a collection. I've had a couple of customers ask where it is, and they actually just don't have collections. So definitely something to look at as well. David,
yeah,
go ahead, Loren.
One of the things we did on the accounts page is, in the upper left, it says like all products and services. And below that, if you have a subscription to Product Design Collection, it's now changed to Product Design and Manufacturing Collection, and then it gives you like in brackets how many titles you have access to. So you should see that over on the left, and if you don't see it on the very top where it says all products and services, it's right below there where it'll have like the Product Design and Manufacturing Collection specifically. But yeah, if you're a collection subscriber and you don't see that, please reach out to Kativ and get that sorted.
Yeah, we've sorted it out for a couple of people already, so definitely let us know, and we'll get that information for you. Let's see here. David's asking, we've got Product Design Suite and Nastran. Now that it's been bundled in one package, is there an advantage in terms of pricing versus having them separately? Loren, do you want to jump on that real quick?
Off the top of my head, I would say there's a definite advantage into having them together. US pricing for Product Design and Manufacturing Collection is, they're going to kill me since I'm not in sales or marketing, but I'm pretty sure it's around 2,500 a year.
Yeah, don't quote us on that, but it's close to that number.
Yeah. So if obviously if your maintenance on Product Design Suite and Nastran are more than that annually, it would obviously behoove you to move to collections at this point.
Yep, and there is that M2S, that maintenance to subscription switch, and it does give you a very, very generous pricing incentive. And so, David, what I'll do is I'll make sure that someone follows up with you and checks your exact situation and gives you the best path to saving some dollars there. We'll do that for you, David. I'll make sure to make note of that. Let's see here. This is a great question, Ben. How does Fusion 360 relate to Inventor as far as eventual plans? For example, they seem to compete on CAD, CAM, and analysis right now. Is Fusion meant to be a lower end solution similar to like the NX and Solid Edge comparison, or is there something else going on?
So it's, again, great question. The way we look at it is really not about high end, low end. It's about the type of user we're going after. So interestingly enough, we rarely compete with Fusion from a new business perspective. From an inventor perspective, I love Fusion for multiple reasons. One of the number one ones is they really talk to a lot of our competitive CAD customers and a lot of these VSBs and other types of areas where Fusion really fits really well. And so it's not that we're trying to compete with Fusion or Fusion competes with Inventor based on functionality. The idea is really giving the users that choose each as many tools and a full set of functionality for design, manufacturing, simulation, etc. So if you choose, the cloud platform is the way you want to go, you have all, the CAD, CAM, CAE. If your collections are desktop user, you have the same. And we are doing a lot of steps. Again, I encourage you to look at the feedback community to make sure that Inventor and Fusion will have a way to talk to each other as well, right? Because as part of the collection, you get Fusion and Inventor, right? So
yep.
we definitely don't see it as high end, low end, or competitors. We really want to have a large Autodesk ecosystem where users using our 3D design tools and manufacturing have a full set of tools and can talk to each other, right?
Yep, that's the big thing too that I think like the two have a relatively simple workflow between the two, right? So it's not like you're working with completely foreign things. It's nice. So a question here, is there any plans of being able to convert point clouds in Inventor?
So you get that with recap in the collection. So that handles a lot of point cloud, and you can bring that data into Inventor. Obviously, recap is really going to help you as far as processing and working with point clouds and scan data. But yeah, that's, as far as converting it, are you talking like, from converting a point cloud to a surface and things like that? That's something that's definitely more longer term on our roadmap.
Certainly, yeah. So there is a workflow. We're probably gonna. I'm trying to get a recap AVA going on in the next quarter or so. So definitely be on the lookout. We can kind of go over some of that workflow as well too, Fred, if that's something you're really interested in. Let's see here. Does standalone Design Suite 2018 include Nastran and Inventor also? So if you have a design suite, which is not a collection, you do have Inventor. You do not get Nastran as part of that. It's only for people with the product design and manufacturing collection. So definitely keep that in mind as well. And then a question that gets brought up a lot, Loren, is who has access to 2018.1? People are really confused about the subscription and the maintenance thing, and the suites and the regular Inventor. Do you want to kind of...
Yeah, so if you're on a perpetual maintenance contract, meaning if you are on Product Design Suite, or you have like a license of just Inventor Professional and you've kept it on maintenance, then you have access to 2018.1. And if you're a new business model subscriber, which means you've got a collection or Inventor Professional as an annual or monthly subscription, however you set that up, then you have access as well. Essentially, as long as you are on maintenance or subscription, then you have access to these. If you drop off of maintenance or do not have a subscription, then you're not going to have access to the new product updates. Right.
Cool. Thanks for clearing that up. There is a question that came from actually someone here at the office in regards to .1.1. That came out a couple days ago, Loren?
Yes.
Is that an update as well, or what is that?
It had it actually had a security fix in it. So again, when you go into Autodesk desktop application or your accounts, that's what you'll see is available for the download. We put the latest as what's available. So .1.1, I would definitely go to that route just because there's a security update or a hot fix in it. I'd have to look up the exact details, but.
Perfect. So it's not like a big update, just to answer a couple of people's questions. It's just what would be like a hot fix or a service pack before. Whereas like this original 2018.1 update, something similar to like what R2 or R3 was before, if you're familiar with some of the old naming schemes.
Yep, and all of our updates are cumulative. So if you download .1.1, you get everything. You don't have to do 2 separate downloads.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier for people as opposed to downloading a bunch of different things. Cool. Let's see here. William, in regards to your question between suites and collections, I'll take that offline with you. But your question about Nastran versus Inventor FEA, Loren, do you want to just jump into a couple of the highlight big differences between the two?
The stuff inside of Inventor has a different solver engine than Nastran at a real high level. And what Nastran really gives you is really you get into a lot of the non-linear and other discrete solvers, whereas the stuff that comes inside of Inventor from their simulation environment, we're really talking about linear types of analysis and solvers, right?
Yep, certainly. So that's the base. If you want to go over that a little bit more, William, I can do that with you offline as well. So do that too. Let's see. Jerry's got a question. Can you still hold control to prevent the adaptive state when projecting geometry?
Yeah, I believe so. We didn't change any of that from a functionality perspective of behavior that worked in the past.
Cool, perfect. Let's see here.
I see the PCB question there too. Could you bring in electrical PCBA files into the Autodesk to check for? So we do it through IDF, or I'm sorry. Yeah, it's IDF. A lot of file formats with Inventor, I get confused. I was thinking IFC. Anyway, so IDF and IDFX files are what we read in. And so in prior releases of Inventor, it was simply like a Manhattan model or a simplified import of that PCB design. As long as that IDF file had the 3D clearance information and keepouts, we would read it all in fine. So what we've done now is you can actually add a component library. So instead of having like a simplified Manhattan model of a transistor or resistor, it can point to an exact detailed model or to a level of detail that you want and pull that library part in and build out your circuit board. But that functionality has been in Inventor for quite some time. But as far as the linking it to a reference file, it is a reference library. That was 2017, I believe, was one of the updates there. As far as creating and designing PCBs, we really leverage, Eagle has that, and they're tied in with Fusion. So as part of the collection, you do get Fusion 360, and you should have access to Eagle, I believe.
Yep, yeah, Fusion and yeah, Eagle. Fusion definitely does take in the Eagle product. I'd have to double check on the availability of that in the collection. But if that's something you want to take offline, Viren, we can certainly do that. Let's see here. Cool. A lot of people are just saying thank you. Also, thank you to everyone who's attending. Certainly. Let's see here. And last one, unless anyone's got any last minute questions. Can we export FEA models from Nastran to be consumed by other FEA products?
Yep. Yeah, we have some default settings even if you do your model, your analysis setup and run a simulation, you also have the ability to export that for consumption in other simulation tools. Yep.
Certainly. Cool. That's great. I'll give everyone about 15 more seconds to go ahead and ask any last minute questions you do have. Again, Loren, thanks for being here today and being here for pretty much all of the Inventor Update AVAs. It's definitely a huge benefit to be able to see the new updates and feature upgrades for each version. Let's see here. Cool. Yeah, just a lot of people saying thanks. Again, Loren, thanks. And next week, we're going to be going over some great stuff in Vault. And how do you get the most out of the searching and filtering techniques in Vault, being able to call for metadata, just a lot of stuff. Mike Carlson, one of our Vault guys here on the team, actually project manager on the Kativ side of things, been working in Vault for quite some time. And he's got some, I guess, hidden secrets that he's going to show in regards to the searching and filtering techniques. So don't miss out on that. That's going to be next week. Same time, Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Hope to see you all there. And for those of you who I promised a follow-up, definitely expect to see an email in the next couple of hours from me. I already am getting some. So certainly that's awesome. So again, Loren, thanks for being here, and hope to see you soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time, and have a great day.
Perfect. Bye.